If you have any interest in Salem, Massachusetts, the history of it, the witch trials, or if you have watched the TV series Salem that aired from 2014 to 2017, then you're going to love this video. In fact, even if you have no interest in those things, you're still going to love it because it is an abandoned town, a complete 17th century style town in the woods of northern Louisiana. It's been abandoned since the last filming days, probably in 2016, and I'm going to show you what it looks like now. Now, I could not get inside this property to actually walk around and look inside the buildings. I had to use a drone, but you're still going to love this video because I'm going to use original clips from the TV series so you can line them up and you can compare and see what it looks like now, because the difference is pretty drastic. So it took about 2 months to construct this entire town. About 25 buildings, 13 of them had fully finished custom interiors, 17th century style interiors, so they could film in them. And the town consists of all kinds of things: an undertaker, a brothel, church, a pub, an orphanage, blacksmith, dining hall, tons of stuff. Here's our main character, or one of the main characters, John Alden, and he's just off the boat and he's looking up the road at the town, and basically the drone is taking that same path where he would have walked right up this road, past all these buildings, into the main area where his house is. And obviously this is where the gallows, the church, and the Sibley Mansion, which I'll get to all of that.
Read for yourself the truth, the terrible truth. Witches among us, the devil in Salem. For you, sir. Aye.
So starting off right away with the Sibley Mansion, this is really the focal point for sure. Most things go on here or just in front of it at the gallows. Clearly it was designed to resemble the House of Seven Gables in Salem, Massachusetts, and it's actually sometimes even referred to that in the show. This was a common scene of Mary Sibley, one of the main characters, always standing on this balcony overlooking the main area of the town, overlooking the gallows, watching people go by. And you can see the amount of damage or wear.
Isaac has been freed?
Yes.
Good.
So there was a cemetery on the side of this church. It looks like it was completely removed at this point, although if you look closely you can see some random tombstones that are lying around the property. I don't know how that happens, but the church is really one that I would have loved to have gotten inside, because when you watch the show you can see the beautiful woodwork. I mean, they really did these buildings perfectly, and it would have been nice to see all that. Continuing showing you the town, it starts to go down this corridor, and this is kind of like what would be considered the main, the built-up area of the town. This is where all the stores and the dining rooms and the pubs were, and you can see John walking up here. And this is Isaac. If you look behind Isaac, you can see an arch. You can see a little bit better here. And then when I go to the drone shot, you can see the arch has completely fallen down. This area, for some reason, has not fared well. I think it's because most of, at least the second stories, most of that stuff was really just quickly built, just facades, and it just has not lasted well at all in the last 4 years. This stuff is going to start really falling apart, which is probably sad for a lot of people to see, especially if you worked on this production. Because this was such a beautiful set. I mean, the amount of detail that they went into doing on this was really impressive, and it's sad to see it like this. You can actually look down. As I zoom in, you can see right down into these buildings. See, these were just 2x4s, just facades. They obviously didn't use the inside of these here. This is also the other end of that corridor. You can see the other side of the fallen arch back there. And this reddish building here was the town's brothel called the Divining Rod. And lots of scenes were filmed mostly inside, but a lot of establishing shots from the outside. So we're kind of floating over the slums right now, and that well had a couple scenes, a couple bigger scenes. This was the kind of the slummy area with a lot of sickly, poor people. A lot of the darker crime went on in here, in this area. So flying over the rooftops here, we're coming back into the main area in the town. This is the focal point, which is the gallows setup. And many scenes were here with so many people being hanged or just being punished throughout the series. In fact, I would say that almost every major character found themselves either in a jail cell or in the stocks at some point in this series.
There was no place for a man like Isaac in George Sibley's Salem. No place for a teller of uncomfortable truths.
If I was telling the truth, why am I in the stocks?
Because that is the price of telling the truth.
You who sees and knows our secret hearts must know that I am innocent.
If you look closely down below, there are I believe two jail cells down there.
Don't believe you're a witch,
but I do believe you possess something of dark magic power.
And so many people were thrown down into these cells. So this was a major part of the series. This was a major filming area for sure. Coming back down the road towards the water, in the show there was usually a huge ship sitting out there, and I heard that after the show wrapped, that ship was actually donated to the Shreveport Aquarium. But I have not been there to see if it was integrated into that place at all. I have no idea. But the ship was, to some extent, it was real. I mean, it wasn't CGI. They really had a ship there. To some extent, I'm not really sure. And this was supposed to be some sort of an inlet, like a bay or something from the ocean. But in reality, this is just a small, beautiful lake that's out in rural Louisiana.
You have pled guilty to the practice of witchcraft, but such a plea is not sufficient to spare your life. I want names of others.
Her, Gloriana!
No, this is a mistake. No, Father, this is a mistake. Miss Embry is no witch.
We're here to observe, not to interfere.
Listen to me, Father. This is what I have tried to tell you, and now I see it to be true. We are doing the devil's work for him!
And then this is just more of the town. You know, it almost looks like I was literally just walking around with the camera, but I just had the drone very, very low. And of course, I cannot forget to show you John Alden's house. This is it right here, this blue one. It sits in between the church and the Sibley house. Not too much went on here. He just basically came and went at different times. But nevertheless, here it is. This one is in pretty decent shape. And clearly John Alden loves to leave his door wide open. And here it still sits, wide open. So that's about it for showing you what this place looks like. I'm going to leave you with a really good scene of Cotton Mather being terrorized by one of the witches. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.
Have no fear. It's just you and me. And baby makes 3.